All right, so have you guys ever heard of a plan that's so complicated it's got to work? No? All right, cool. So one of the things that I'm known for, and I think I've been accused of is one of my superpowers, is trying to make things and making things really, really simple. So guys, Eric Orland, beautiful job. I love what you did. Okay? Yeah, you can clap for him. It's fine. So here's the thing. I'm going to start off before what Eric got to, because there's a lot of people in this room that will still do this on a constant basis. They will say, Russ, I want to do attraction, but I don't know how to get this attraction into my business. And here's the problem. The problem is most people are looking at it wrong. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen me do a video. How many of you guys have seen me on video? How many of you guys have ever seen me without a vest, shirt, tie, cool shoes, and a whiteboard? One. We were at the pool, right? No, I've worn this in the pool, so don't think I'm wrong, okay? So they weren't able to get me a whiteboard. I asked Kurt, and Kurt's like, Russ, no whiteboard, man. You could do it without a whiteboard. I'm like, well, what am I going to do with my hands? Like, I have to stick them in my pocket. It's like really weird without my whiteboard. So I figured I'm going to trump Kurt Shewell. Ha ha, watch this. So I brought my whiteboard with me. Brought my whiteboard with me. So picture me standing. That just makes me so happy to see a whiteboard that big. I got a whiteboard problem. All right, so the issue with real estate and the issue with attraction is that a lot of real estate agents are looking at the houses equals money bucket, and then when they think about attraction, they think about attraction in a separate bucket, right? And then the people equals cash bucket. And we hear people talk about it like that, and we put it in this frame, in this thinking process in our head. And then the problem becomes, a lot of people are saying, well, Russ, but I'm not making enough money in my real estate business sales and house sales thing. So how am I going to take time away from that to add another bucket to build another business? Does that sound like some of you guys? Yeah. So what happens is you look at this bucket and you're like, I'm putting 100% in my real estate sales, and if I detract 20% of that into another business, my real estate sales is now going to be 80%, and I really can't afford that right now, Russ. And I would say to you, you're right. Most of you can't do that. And I want to tell you guys, the first thing that you want to do with attraction is attraction should be a blessing and it should be a bonus to you. It should not detract from your current business. So what I want to do is I want to shift this in your head, okay? Because I want you to start thinking, today, if I look at it differently, then I can act differently, I can do differently, and I will get differently. Is that fair? So let me show you how to look at this. Thanks. All right, so here's how you should be looking at it. I want you to focus 100% of your business on the real estate sales for those of you guys that are doing that. If you need to pay your bills, you need to take care of your family, you need to save some money, you need to put bucks in the bank, I want you to focus on building real estate sales. So what I want you to start thinking is I want you to start thinking attraction through production. You're already selling the houses anyway. So in the process of doing that, there's a bunch of things going on around you, including a bunch of agents that are going on around you. So would you guys like to see how to add 821 agents to your sphere of influence with one listing? Okay, well, I'm not going to show you guys that today. What? That's not fair? Okay, I've got a video on that I'm going to get you guys access to so I can show you guys how to do attraction through production and work this system bucket over bucket. So what happens is when you're doing the real estate sales, you've got real estate agents that are around the deal. And then you don't realize how many real estate agents are around this deal. So when you're going backwards, let's go backwards here. When you go back to this method right here, you think, well, okay, I've got house sales equals money, and then I got people equals money. Well, that's one sphere of influence, and then you've got a secondary sphere of influence, which is real estate agents. And a lot of real estate agents have a hard time building out that sphere. So now if you can start to see it a little bit differently, now you can start saying, hey, in the process of doing this, I can have real estate agents that are going to be part of this funnel, and then the overflow of the stuff going on with the real estate sales now becomes my secondary business. So think of it like this. I like wood. I have a wood problem, okay? I see a piece of wood, I like it, I will buy it, I don't care what it costs, and I will find something to make with it because that's just the way I roll, okay? So I go to the lumber yard, and the guys at the lumber yard used to have a truck come in on State Road 59. They'd have a truck come in, and they produced a ton of sawdust milling wood, and they would have a truck come in. The truck would collect all the sawdust, and then they would pay to have the truck take the sawdust out and dump it. And then one day somebody comes over to the business and says, hey, do you guys have sawdust? And they're like, we're a sawmill. Yeah, right? And he said, well, what do you guys do with the sawdust? And we pay a guy to take it out. And he goes, how about if I could pay you to take your sawdust? And they're like, okay, right? Think about it. Like, they're already milling the wood, and then the sawdust is just a byproduct, and now instead of having to pay to take the sawdust off, they're getting paid to take the sawdust. And that's how you get Traeger pellets for pellet grills, right? So you take a byproduct of what you're already doing and it becomes a secondary business and another income stream. Okay, how many of you guys need 2 jobs? No? Okay, so this is not the way you want to do it. You want to do it like that. All right? So here's the thing. Let's go into like, how do people really work? The interesting thing is when we get into this business, we talk about eXp, how great eXp is. And I want you guys to understand, and I'm going to say this out loud, and I said this to Glenn Sanford a couple weeks ago when I had dinner with him, and it went something like this. I'm like, you're going to hear from somebody that I said, nobody gives a shit about eXp. And he's like, okay. I said, no, if they give it to you in context, it will go something like, they don't really care about eXp. They just care about getting out of their life and their business what they need to move the ball. eXp isn't the solution. eXp is a tool to get to the solution. So if you understand where people are in their curve in life and curve in business, they're going to fall into 5 categories. And I love what Justin Ford was talking about earlier, talking about legacy. Let me show you where that fits on your curve, okay? Every single person in this room fits somewhere on this curve. Pretty cool, right? Any of you guys feel like you don't really belong? Now you belong. You're on the curve with us, okay? First phase, let's write this down if you want. The first phase for most real estate agents and people get into the business, they start at 0, which means they have 0 experience and they have $0 doing it. Doesn't matter what you come from, where you come from, what business, what background, everybody starts in real estate at 0. That first phase of being in the real estate business typically is focused around making cash. What did you get into the business for in the first place? You love working evenings and weekends? You like missing the Super Bowl because you're doing an open house? I mean, if you love that, cool, right? I don't know anybody that said, hey, I want to get into this business and work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I hear real estate agents say I'm a realtor 24/7. Because in the beginning phases, guys, you will do whatever it takes to make money. Because not making the bills is not an option. Not being able to do the things you want with your family is not an option. Not being able to afford the things that you want and the things that you love and the things that you need is not an option. So you'll do whatever it takes. And here's the great part. If you get to the point where you are at that number, whatever that number is, how many of you guys got into the business, you're like, I just want to make $100,000 a year? Yeah, right? And then here's the cool part. You become successful and you get to 100 and you're like, damn, I should have gone for 2. And then you hit 2 and you're like, shoot, should have gone for 4. And then you're like me at like year 8 or 9. I'm like, I want to make $500,000 a year and not work. The only thing I like more than making money is making money without working. Like Jim. He never working anyway. Okay, so what happens is you get to that point and then you're saying, hey, I'm working a ton of hours and a ton of time. And here's the thing, when you're talking to real estate agents, if you can figure out where they are on this curve, then you know what to tell them and sell them and show them to be able to help take their business to the next level. Because when I get somebody that's like, hey, I'm doing fine on the money, the next thing they're always worried about is time. Because once you get to a certain number on Friday night at 8 o'clock, when that buyer calls and says, I'm ready to look at a house and we got to look at it tonight, and you're making $400,000 a year, what's your response to them? Not me. You're going to have to call my assistant from Sphere Rocket to get on my calendar. So time becomes now really super important. You don't want to work every evening. You don't want to work every weekend. You don't want to miss the kids and the grandkids and all the things that are important to you, right? This business is supposed to provide the money for you to be able to live the lifestyle that you want to live. And if it's destroying your lifestyle and destroying your family and destroying your peace, it's not worth it. So for the person that's got the money in place, and I say, well, how about we talk about how to get your time back in line so that you have the time to do the things that are important to you. If you have all the money in the world, but you don't have the time to do the things that are important to you, is that a good life? No, the goal is to build a good life, right? And it takes money to do that. They'll say money can't buy happiness. Bullshit. It's way more fun having money than being broke. Right, Eric? You've done both. Which one did you like more? All right, okay? Same here. Okay, so once you get to the money part and the time part and you get that in balance, then the next thing you start to focus on is freedom. Freedom and exit. It's that moment when you're saying, like, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm doing this because I want to do this, not because I have to do this. And there's a lot of people when they get to that moment in life, they really start to change what they do and change who they become. And they kind of next level 2.0 themselves. Like with the way I dress now, I don't know what 2.0 is going to look like. Probably German tourists from the 80s. I don't know. Okay? But they're looking at next leveling. They're looking at get to that point where they don't have to trade time for money. When you don't have to trade time for money, then you can focus on something that's really important. And I believe somebody touched on it earlier. They said, then it's time to build your legacy. Justin Ford talked about building your legacy. What are you leaving behind? So once you get all those in place and you got the money, you don't have to work. Now you're doing it because you want to. Now you have the ability to build your legacy. And then when you've got your legacy built, by the way, there's a next level, and it's another legacy. The first legacy is my legacy. I'm going to build the legacy. What did I leave behind? Whose lives have I changed? And then the second legacy is, how can I show Jim how to have what I have and show Jim how to build a legacy? The first legacy is internal, self-focused. I'm building my legacy. The second legacy is, I want to help you build a legacy, and you build a legacy, and you build a legacy, and you build a legacy. And here's the most amazing and beautiful part about eXp. Because of the way the systems work and the multiple streams of income and the different things that we can do, you're able to work on all four of the first ones right out of the gate. So you're getting stocks, helps you towards freedom. Your ability to generate revenue share as a byproduct of your sales helps you get to freedom faster. See, I want all of you to get to that point of freedom where you don't have to do it. And some of you are like, well, Russ, I don't know what to do otherwise. I love doing this. Then keep doing it, but don't do it for the rest of your life until you die, because that's what you have to do. Get to that freedom moment, 2.0 yourself, and then make a difference in everybody else's lives. Okay? So here's a simple recipe I want you to start thinking through. When you finally get in front of that real estate agent, you guys are like, well, Russ, I don't know what to say. I didn't either. Good news is I tripped over enough of them that I finally started to figure out some of the things that were working and some of the things that didn't work. And what I found is almost everybody fits into this recipe. I'm going to start off with, where are you at now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there? First question I'm going to ask them is, can you tell me a little bit about your business? And the reason I want to ask that question that way is I want to see what's important to them. I want to see what they say. What are they focused on? What are they thinking about? What's the top of the mind for them? And then the next question I'm going to ask is, what do you love to do in this business? Now, I don't know about you guys. Did you see Chris Voss yesterday? And he said, how do you ask that question? And when you ask that question, it completely changes what somebody does. I'm sitting in the back corner over here, and I'm like, holy crap, that's why that works so good. I've been doing it for years like that, guys, because what I found is if I can get them to tell me what they love and what they don't love, and then I ask them where they want to be, and they get really clear on where they want to be, they always want more. And if I can show you 2 or 3 things to help you get to that B, take you from where you are to where you want to be, if I can show you 2 or 3 things to help you get there, would you want to do that? And you know what they say most of the time? Yes, I would. Would you be better off doing it with me? Do you think I could help you? Would you be better off getting to B by being around me? Yeah? Cool, great. What do you think you should do now? Well, I should probably join you. I don't close anybody. They close themselves because they can see a path to where they want to go. They can see a path to them getting to that legacy thing, which they currently couldn't do. If you can show somebody the way to get out of life what they want, they're going to want it almost every single time. Can I teach you something about sales right now, guys? Have something people want, and they'll want it. If I had a video that showed you guys how this works in detail and it was free, would you like to see that? Good. If I could show you a video on how to go through this conversation and this conversation and this conversation, would you like to see that? Okay. One more QR code. Okay, this QR code goes to a playlist. It's on YouTube. Mike Sherrard, you'll be proud of me. I have a freaking playlist on YouTube. Yes? You can see how tech savvy I am, whiteboard guy. So take this QR code. It opens up to a link to a playlist. There are 4 videos on there on how I talk about how to talk to real estate agents, how to talk to brokerages, how to have this conversation, how to walk them from A to B. If you are a brokerage, how do you have that conversation of like what you're doing right now is you're working under your own umbrella and you're getting to do some of the things you love, and the more you grow and the bigger you get, the less you get to do what you love. So when I talk to a brokerage, I'm like, if I can get you in a position where you can do more of what you love, would you like to do that? And they usually say yes. I don't close them, Kurt. They close themselves because I'm just showing them that they can have out of their life what they want by doing this, okay? So grab that QR code, hit the playlist, and I'm done. Thank you for your time.
Woo! Russ Laggan.